a fish once, right? So if you look at like, you know, like, oh, have you seen that new thing of T-Rex where he's got front-facing eyes and they actually think they all look like big chickens? All dinosaurs were covered in feathers. Because that's the thing, like, no, honestly, I wish you could find me the photo. Honestly, it's hilarious. Dogs can't look up.
Yeah.
They can't. They can. They can.
Yes, they can.
They can. What was the other one that you said that was like
cows can't walk downstairs, and they can.
Actually, yeah, I've seen. They've got those.
It's because their like legs and knees aren't built to go downstairs with the mass that they carry.
Do you think they could roller skate?
What, cows? You've seen all the bulldogs and stuff that people in like California
I've seen a bulldog that skateboards.
Yeah,
he's my hero. I love him.
Yeah.
Do you reckon he can look? Do you reckon he can look up?
Yeah, dogs can look up. Well, with the inbreeding of a lot of these dogs.
Oh, let's not go to inbreeding within 30 seconds of talking about the name for our podcast.
The name for our podcast, yeah. So this is
Dogs Can't
Look Up.
I don't know.
Wait. We are, so I'm Rob.
Oh yeah, we need to do
that. So people actually know our names. And I'm gonna...
My name is Professor Chaos.
No, that's your child.
Yeah, no, both of us. I'm the OG Professor.
The OG.
I actually put my name down to collect a bag of melons once as Professor Chaos. And my friend Brad was Brad, and he was like, Brad.
You're one of those people that thinks it's really funny to give some stupid name
at
Starbucks.
Yeah, I've worked in a shit fucking job like that as well. So, you know, when you get something like that, it's quite funny.
Yeah, that's true.
Because they were like, oh, you must be Professor Chaos. And I was like, that I am. But I forgot where it had come from.
Wait, what's your actual name?
Well, anything. I'll actually,
okay.
Suspense.
I'm definitely just going to put up your little thing underneath you.
That's fine.
As Professor Chaos.
I'll just leave
You'll be forever known as
mystery word. Yeah. Fuck it then. I'm not going to say my name.
Right,
I should be.
I'm sure I'll probably end up
Voldemort.
using it at some point. But
she who shall not be named.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Yeah. No. So yeah, we are doing it. This is the first official
episode.
We sat down and shot the shit, didn't we?
Yeah, and it's. I'm just going to call it.
It's always going to be terrible. It's us two.
It's still going to be terrible.
It's two idiots talking about stuff that they have no place to talk about. Let's be honest.
Well, also just doing audio and video stuff.
Oh my god, it sounds like we're in a biscuit tin as well. It literally sounds like we're being recorded in a biscuit tin.
Yeah, so
there is that.
If anyone makes it through more than even to this point, listening or watching, thank you. Thanks. So,
yeah.
But yeah.
I mean, I don't really know what the pull of our
inane stupidity, where sometimes we actually discuss.
Well, there is something which, because my job, you're the technical man. We were talking.
Don't pin all of that on because it's so bad.
But I was going to say, I'll get to the point now because I know that the usual thing is that I'll start and I'll have to go full circle because it'll take me about 2.5 hours to just tell one basic anecdote. So. Or I'll forget, like now.
Yeah.
No, we were talking about if we were going to pursue a life of crime, like we would be in a gang and who would be who. So like, you know, my friend Jane, she would be like the honeypot.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. I'm the hacker that sits behind the things that me.
Guess what I am, obviously.
You have 30 seconds while the security cameras are down.
Yeah, you'd be good at that. See? That's what I mean. You're the technical guy. What would I be in a heist type situation then, Robert? Because I know full well, and once I say to you what I would be, you'd be like, "Oh yeah, of course." In fact, no, you wouldn't. You'd be like, "Really, really?" You would do that thing where you were like, "Really, really?"
Are we talking like bank robbery, or are we talking like
stealth, like just stealth? No, just like like you know, fucking average heist film. So that could be, you know, so you've got like the 5. I'm
not the driver.
Oh, that was it. No. That was what I said. I'd be the driver.
No.
Yes, of course I would be. I'm a great driver.
I wasn't going to say this, but I talked to Scott last week about your driving.
Betrayed.
And I was like, I would never get in a car as a
he's
passenger.
The worst backseat driver. Like, I'm a good driver. I just drive a bit quickly. and erratic.
Yeah, the erratically is the thing. The quickly is fine. The erratically is.
You know, it's not like I'm blind or oblivious to what's going on about me, especially if I've got passengers in the car.
To be fair, I'm a terrible passenger.
All men are. No, all men are.
Maybe.
Maybe you're alright with each other, but if there's a woman driving, you guys are,
I think,
wait, you're a bit far right, oh my god, and you're just like, just shut up.
Well, no.
I wish at that point there was like an eject button where you could just...
No, because I've definitely got male friends that I'm like, I'm never going to get in a car with them. Like 100%.
Oh my god, so last year I actually saw a savage car crash outside where I was living. And it was, the weird thing was, it was right in the middle of Exeter city centre. So it was actually along Alphington Road. So, going right into where it was.
I mean, this is a car crash of a podcast,
yeah, it
so
is
we may as
literally
well
a car
start with that. Yeah.
But the fucking thing was, right, he moved his car. He was fucked up. Like, he moved his car around into basically where the range is. It was like they'd hit the bridge just before there. His passenger had gone flying out of the windscreen. Yeah, of either the windscreen. Right, no, it was the windscreen. Crash. So proper crash. He was like fucked up. Like, and I think he was like so, because my dad has said the thing about those sorts of crashes. My dad used to be a traffic policeman, as you know, but just a bit of context. He said that the worst thing about those sorts of incidents is it's definitely always the passenger that gets either killed or seriously injured, and the driver usually ends up fine, which is why they usually end up always prosecuted and in prison. But he definitely is going to go to jail for a long time because it was obviously his friend, so he'd come out through the windshield, but then he'd driven the car was obviously, the door had come off because there was a door in the thing, so I don't know.
So he crashed and drove off.
But he'd then come back because obviously it was his friend in the road.
Right.
So he didn't want to leave his friend, but he didn't obviously want to get done because he was so fucked up.
Oh, he drove the car and moved it somewhere.
I was like barefoot, like, you know what I'm like, I was well nosy, and obviously, like I said, my dad's a traffic policeman, so I was like, so I was like, oh my god, he is fucked up, and then nobody.
So he walked back.
He'd come back,
driven his car,
but then obviously it was such a big bang.
Yeah.
It sounded like an explosion. It was such a big thing because the car, like I said, had hit the corner of the bridge, this big brick wall essentially. So he was trying to basically play it off like he had just. I thought he
must have had some injuries.
I actually thought probably, but he was fucking drunk. He was so drunk.
Right.
I thought at first he was maybe a passenger, a pedestrian. That had been like, I didn't think that the guy on the road was a passenger. I thought, maybe he's been. It was a hit and run, because there was no car anywhere. Yeah. And then, so me again, being nosy, not to be, but I definitely, if I wasn't there, he would have definitely got. Because at some point he manifested this fucking high vis jacket, like he was, like, you know, some sort of. So he was directing the traffic, like he was not part of it at all. So I ended up being like, but he was fucked up. Like I walked up and he was like, it's fine, it's fine, it's fine. And I thought, because there's so many pubs around there, I just thought, he's been walking past and he's seen it. And he was like, yeah. And then obviously something didn't sit right and I called them, what grass, like called the police. But to be fair, those sorts of incidents where it's driving and it's people, like it was when the guy who I was speaking to was like, I was walking past and I very, very nearly got hit, like I had to dive into the hedge. And I was like, I've got a child now, so we all have a moral responsibility.
There's a big difference as well. The drunk driving thing is never. I can't.
Because it's like drinking. She says drinking.
Just this cheese.
And that's what I said earlier when I was pouring it out. Like nothing should be that colour. Nothing that a human being should consume.
This is what I'm saying. The pre-workout looks like that.
What the fuck is pre-workout?
Like the caffeine powder stuff that
I'm like
that you take
a
before
bit.
you.
Like I'm like, I don't know whether it's because I'm cold or whether I'm just sort of tweaking out a bit.
Probably a bit of both.
Yeah, a bit of both.
But it's the stuff you take before you go to the gym, like.
Obviously, I would know all about the gym.
But that it looks like that, and it comes out that colour as well. So yeah. But that's like overboard Monster. There's like.
Oh, you've cut down on Monster. We did touch on Monster very briefly.
I just need to cut out the caffeine as much. I think. And Monster's just. I mean, Monster Red Bull's
I've realised that if I don't have a cup of coffee, because I used to like hit when I used to commute to work, I used to have a cup of coffee.
I'll probably still have one in the morning, but that's.
What, like a coffee?
Yeah, and then that'll be it for the day.
How do you have your coffee? Do you have it like? Do you have like a cafetiere? Are you fancy? Do you have?
We've got one in an espresso machine.
Fuck off.
Maybe I'll have. It's only the pod things.
It's only the pod things. Meanwhile, I have to fucking boil the
fancy.
kettle when the little version of that, like.
To be honest, most of the time I'll just have
whatever the fuck it's called.
Most of the
pouring
time
a kettle in there to get the dregs out.
Yeah, most of the time.
No,
it's
I
just
realise
instant.
if I don't have a cup of coffee in the morning, like I'm like, did I? But that's because Lou just wakes up in the morning.
Well, yeah.
Ding.
And then, yeah.
Creation of life.
But but that's
Human
alcoholic monster, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is alcohol.
No thanks.
I was saying about creation of life, which I was trying to segue very nicely into.
I don't know where. Oh, from the car crash.
Well, I was talking about Lou because I was like creation of life.
Oh, yeah.
But I was trying to like delicately sort of segue.
Oh, sorry, I just killed it.
No, because I said that like I sort of gave you like a loose idea what I wanted to talk about, because the whole thing, I suppose, of our shtick, if you will, is that you are not in any way inclined to spiritual. We did talk about this in the intro. You are just.
We touched on lots of things in like episode 0 or whatever, but for like a
episode 0.
Yeah, like a quick recap. It's not just going to be us just
the thing
rambling on about nothing.
The point about it being so, I guess, so just shit in a way is that it's supposed to be like you know how Gogglebox is when they're just fucking chilling in the living room. I know, well, but you know what it is. I don't fucking watch it either. I don't even have a TV. The TV licensed people keep sending me really aggressive letters, and it's so funny, like, because they're worded like Liam Neeson in Taken. It's like, we work 365 days a year. We have vans surveying the neighbourhoods with literally like that sort of, and I'm like, well, come over to my house then, because I don't have a fucking TV. I don't have a fucking router, mate. So
I think, weren't they like getting funny about like tablets and any kind of computer device because you can watch? Are they going to
abolish the TV license?
I think so. Yeah, that's the thing that
I don't know. I've given up knowing what.
But yes, like singular topic each time, very broad.
It's just
loose,
because what we're saying is
something
basically
to anchor
what
us.
I keep saying is you are pretty much diametrically opposed to, you are introverted. Although I think, I go away for like years at a time and don't leave my house, so I can be very introverted. But generally speaking, we are.
Oh yes, the point is. So like each episode will be like we'll have like an anchor topic to maybe bring us back.
You don't believe in spirits. You don't believe in spirituality. You don't drink. It's like that My Chemical. Oh my god, I should be at My Chemical Romance now. Not, I know we weren't going to say anything relevant, but just shout out to my emo years that I should be there in Milton's or wherever they are now. Not that I know their tour schedule.
Stalking them through their tour schedule.
Can't, they've got a kid now.
Yeah.
And they're all fucking miles away.
Ruined your stalking.
Strap him to.
Ruined
oh my
your
god, he would have loved it.
Band stalking. Having a kid.
That's not fair. But anyway. I can't remember the last gig I went to.
I've never been to a real gig. Genuinely. Like an actual gig.
And there we go, that's why
that probably
I'll
shows
take
you the
to your
introvert.
first gig. Do you want
No,
me
I
to
don't even. No, I'm not bothered. I don't.
Don't like me. We should go to like one of those, like like the Yellow Room when they do the piano recitals. We should go to.
I've been to orchestras. I've never been to a gig.
Have you been to the cathedral? Like when they do the like classical stuff. When they do, I went to Handel's Messiah, and I've seen. Oh, I actually saw the Planets there. That was fucking sick.
Yeah.
Because they did Rossini as well. They did the. Anyway, so I wanted to talk to you because this is one of the reasons it will just, like I said, to keep using the word seg, because I use the word segue like the guy who invented it and then rolled off the cliff on one. Not the same word apparently. I was humbled by your.
Oh yeah, I got
correction of my spelling.
Because usually you're.
No, usually I'm hot on it. I'm very hot on it, which is surprising, but yeah.
So I jumped in and took my opportunity to take you down.
I appreciated that as well. I would have done the same. Also, pedancy, is that a word? We're both fucked now.
But your vocabulary is much better than mine. That's why I was like, yes.
What is rather loquacious? No,
quick, take it down.
No, it's because I had no friends in school. I knew we were in the same class, but I used to go hang out in year 7 and year 8 and go read the fucking dictionary.
Yeah, but then you.
I don't even think I got past 8. I will be honest, but I did because there was a weird kid. Dale. Do you remember that guy? It's like Yeah, anyway. I wanted to talk this evening, this fair Sunday evening, creation of life. Not just humans, not human beings. I mean, when I say humans, I'm not talking about like the birth story, because we all know, when two people really love each other.
So you want?
I want to.
You want?
Find out what you think about. I mean, obviously, I'm gonna speculate here. Big Bang, maybe.
Yeah.
But in terms of. Because obviously the angle we were gonna, I think, approach it from was religious, like the similarities in creation myths. But then I realised that, I'm not a theologist, and I don't want to do any disservice to by stumbling over it, like being like. We have the good old Wikipedia at our service, but I wanted to find out initially what do you think?
So creation of
talked about it.
Creation of everything, not just creation of life.
I think because there's so much really now that we're starting to find out, like in terms of that science is just sort of like, because it's been like I don't know when Darwin was talking around, like 1800s.
I don't quote me
Let's
on
just
that
say 1800s. That's 100 years. That's a pretty broad window. Like I said, this is where we come into. We are not fucking professionals, and
sounds about right.
So, I mean, it's generally just accepted that that's the thing. But in terms of like consciousness or like science, just now is starting to. So what I'm saying is there are cracks which have just sort of been papered over, which now I suppose we are sort of approaching in this new window of science. But generally speaking, creation, like
Okay, so I mean, you may as well get it out of the way and say if I'm going to label myself, I'm agnostic atheist.
Oh, agnostic. So you're open to that idea.
Yeah, I still don't even like that as a label.
I know. I can see how uncomfortable it makes you now.
Yeah.
Because I think I'm agnostic too. Agnostic twinsies.
With
exactly,
different
like
ends
look
of
at
the
you,
spectrum
like,
of agnoism?
Agnosticism.
Agnosticism?
Well, there's Gnosticism.
Either way.
Which is a branch of...
Yes, so I guess I've never had to actually consider it, because I guess you just go with Big Bang. It's also not something I've ever really read into either.
Were you in old Greg science class? You were?
Yes.
Yeah, me too, right?
Yeah.
Okay, Karen.
So yeah, it's not something I've ever really read. So I would just have to go with the scientific community and be like Big Bang.
Which is let's just try and clarify, because the thing about these sorts of discussions is what is the general, like we are just general population, general public, right? So what I would say I'm not too badly educated, but Big Bang. So there was just nothing.
This is the thing. I mean, it's almost too much for humans to comprehend, I think, in some ways, because it's just like there was nothing.
Exactly. So, but you can. I remember going to university for all of two days.
Get you.
Yeah, exactly. For all of like 2 days. And they were talking about something called the infinite regression of cause. So they were saying that, if you have A, then A has to have. So A obviously being like, this is where I was like,
I can really throw you. How does A exist? How do you prove something exists? Does it have to be? Does it have to be?
That's very Descartesian, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, is it Descartes? I mean, I'm sure there's more.
I'm trying.
So
shouldn't throw you off track.
We're all. This is where we get philosophical. Well, we're not educated, and I will be honest. Because I wish we could talk about the philosophers that we know, but it is sort of what is because then what is reality, like where. That's what I'm saying. So anyway,
I think it's just nice to use. Yeah, Big Bang would be my go-to if someone asked me, because generally I would go towards whatever the scientific community has proven.
So there was just nothing.
I'm pretty sure it's still
just like a bunch of gases knocking around.
See, I don't know, because at this point,
this is where I'm like, let's just have a little look.
The Big Bang Theory,
the Big Bang. You know what's just going to come out? That fucking Sheldon guy.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, because
So,
the whole existence of nothingness, and then suddenly there was stuff, and it all came together.
Yeah, that's what I mean, right? Seems a bit, where's the stuff come from, guys? Where's the stuff come from? I mean, this is what I mean. Like, this is where if you're really stoned, I mean, see, I told you, this is the problem with modern day humanity.
This is Big Bang.
You're trying to find
theory.
out the existence of everything, and what comes up is some stupid show about some virgins hanging out in a fucking flat together. What is the Big Bang?
Okay. Yeah. It's
space.com. So I would, thank you Wikipedia, but we just want to summarise. What was the Big Bang? The Big Bang Theory is the leading explanation for how, we know that, for how the universe began. Simply put, it says the universe as we know it started with an infinitely hot and dense single point that inflated and stretched, first at an unimaginable speed and then a more measurable rate over the next 13.8 billion years, to the still expanding cosmos that we know today.
Alright, stop. Go right back to the first sentence. What does it say?
What was the Big Bang?
Okay, yeah, the actual first sentence of the thing, not the question.
We, just be more specific there. No, the Big Bang. Oh, you don't. The first sentence is the Big Bang Theory is the leading explanation for how the universe. Simply put, it says the universe, as we know, it started with an infinitely hot and dense single point that inflated and stretched, first at unimaginable speeds.
So, this is my thing.
What does that even mean, though?
This infinitely dense thing, has that existed for all eternity before it just decided to blow up?
Exactly, this is my point of contention, right?
And I can understand why.
Okay, I have a question for you. I'm going to interject, right? Yeah. You are an infinite being.
Right, yeah.
You are in a room with no doors, no windows. There are no books. There are no external stimulus. There's no stimulus. There's nothing.
Okay.
What do you do?
And I can't kill myself.
No, there's nothing. You're just in. You're literally just like, because let's just hypothesize that you don't need to feed.
Yeah. So you're not like
you're just like
you're just there as a thing. I mean,
because the argument, it's not like scientists. I mean, they are scientists, but it's also, and it's not like the argument is that all that exists is pure conscious energy, and that's like how. And this is where I was like, I'm not going to talk about magical schools or things like that. But that's how the whole thing about like manifestation, and I'm not talking about the secret and stuff like that. But that's where it gets kind of interesting, right?
I'm sure I've heard a thing of like kind of along those lines of like this. If there was just this thing,
I'm gonna look it up while you talk because I know we don't want to keep looking stuff up.
It wouldn't stay. Can't think of the word. It wouldn't just stay as a like solid nothingness, not doing anything forever.
But that's what I'm saying. Like when
at
people,
some point there has to be.
Not even
like a chain reaction off the smallest.
I was going to say, like, when prisoners, or not even prisoners, like, like the whole thing. There's lots of religious myths or like archetypes where someone like the hero goes off and they have no stimulus, or they like Jesus in the desert.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden they have this sort of transcendental like experience because they've had nothing, and it's like. In fact, we watched Papillon the other day. One about the prisoner, and he goes to he tries to escape from this French island in the middle of nowhere. And basically, the idea is that people can't survive in solitary because there's no stimulus, there's nothing.
Yeah.
And so all there is to do is to go inward. So most people go crazy.
Yeah.
Unless, you sort of can hone into that. And that's why, the whole thing about
this is my
Buddhism, when they go off and it's like, they sit and they do this
and they come back way more centered.
Yeah, and it's because you tap into that conscious, and that's a very Jungian concept as well. Like you've got the idea that you can.
So I'm all for that though, because as a very modern day type thing, is I've told lots of people give out advice, even though it's one of. Anyway, I've people that jump from relationship to relationship.
This is taking a weird turn.
it's kind of it's like a modern day thing. I feel like you have to be happy, like the whole thing of love yourself before you can. Do you know what I mean? Like you have to learn to accept yourself before you should be in a relationship with somebody else, because if you can't, it ends up reflecting.
RuPaul says that on the end of every episode, Robert. That's
really?
it's very hashtag woke of you. I don't know why I did. No.
But I've told people before, it's like, I'm like, bro, just have
it's
some time to yourself.
Like, if you're looking externally for the completion of yourself, like you're constantly going to be searching, because you're already a whole package, like on your own. Like if you can't be on your own, then that's because I've had this problem. Like no matter where you go, like there you are. But
so you have to learn to be alone. That's essentially what I if you dumb it down, I think people need to learn to be alone before, because so many people are so afraid of being on their own.
But I think that's part
in their own thoughts.
I was going to say, I think that's part of modern day society, though. Like that's part.
That's what I'm saying. It is a modern day problem.
Because you're so distracted. Like, and maybe it was always prevalent. Maybe it was like there were different distractions, and because of grind of like you're in a fucking mill and you have to get up at like 5 o'clock and then walk 400 miles to work and no shoes and climb.
And obviously, I appreciate that some people you can't just be like, oh, I'm just going to live alone for 6 months or whatever, because it's just not feasible sometimes. But like for younger people, I definitely think you should not jump from, because you're just looking for something you can't find in somebody else.
Yeah.
Because you have to find it in yourself.
But I think there's so much to feel like, oh, I need to have validation, and it's like we live on this society which thrives on validation specifically.
Yeah. I mean, look at the there's all kinds of so I'm just going to tangent slightly. The guy I told you about, that's he does therapy streams with the big streamers.
Oh yeah.
And he talks about modern day technology being a real mental health issue now for people. And there's so many studies of like teenagers and how Instagram affects them and the stuff that they post, and how their friend next to them is getting this many likes.
This is my ADHD being like.
I know you're trying to cut in, but it's a massive like thing now.
Do you think that there is some insidious vein in society whereby these technologies, because obviously there is that whole thing about TikTok being banned in America?
Oh, is that a thing they're talking about?
Oh no, it was in Trump's administration, because obviously it's owned by China, and they were openly like data harvesting apparently.
Thing is, if you actually
do you think
most are doing that?
I was going to say, do you think it's some darker thing where it's like, because obviously all these big companies have so much money at their disposal, and
they've all learned how to prey off basically teenagers.
But do you think it's basically that it's just like that turn people into like mindless sheep just staring down so they can basically do what the fuck they want? Like if you believe, do you believe in something like the Illuminati? Do you think it, not when I say the Illuminati, I don't mean, because the Illuminati is a thing. It was formed
I know, but you don't mean that exactly. You mean
I do think there is some global, and when I need to be very, very specific here, I do not think there is a cabal of Jews running the world.
How about the Lizardmen? Can we bring? I want to bring up Zuck. I'm going to do it every episode. I'm just going to bring in. Say his name.
Right. Okay. So this ties nice. I'm going to segues very nicely. Segues. So yeah, going back to creation of life, then lizard people.
Oh.
Any part of your mind which
what's
thinks
the whole thing that they are lizard people actually wearing
the whole thing about a reptilian blood, like David Icke is one of the main proprietors of this theory, that in theory, in like if you look at the tablets of like Enki and Enlil in like Sumerian like legend, and actually if you look at like the Pope's hat, it's got the fish thing. And
you've actually read about this. I was surprised you're giving me so much stuff. I was not expecting this much about Lizardmen.
It's not like I read. It's just very interesting that there are these. They call them like blue bloodlines.
Right.
So it's like not necessarily lizard people, but it's like if you surmise that evolutionarily speak. That was a hard word to say, Rob. That was a hard word. That we were fish once, right? So if you look at like, you know, like, oh, have you seen that new thing of T-Rex where he's got front-facing eyes and they actually think they all look like big chickens? All dinosaurs were covered in feathers. Because that's the thing, like, no, honestly, I wish you could find the photo. Honestly, it's hilarious. They think all dinosaurs were basically big chickens.
I'm sorry,
they think they fucked it up because part of the whole bloodline thing, like we came out of this primordial swamp and we were either chicken or lizard. Bird lizard, or bird lizard people.
I'm sorry.
But then this is honestly, you see so many like visual depictions of like, so in Egypt, you have Thoth.
Can I stop you quickly? So you're saying, are you saying this Lizardman theory? They are actually like lizard. It is a different species.
So yeah, the idea is that essentially there was a ruling class of. Essentially, so like in the Dogon tribe in Africa, they have this idea that there was an alien race that came down from the Pleiades constellation, and they came down to Earth, and basically they saw that we were not, you know, we were
doing very well.
We were like, you know, either like you know, apes. I don't even know. I can't even. I wouldn't want to put a time frame on this because time is just a fallacy in my mind anyway, for two reasons: either that I can't comprehend it, and also that I have a child. So they came down and they were like, oh, well, you want to give them like a helping hand? So in the same way that like we genetically modify like vegetables and stuff. Did I even talk about this before? I can't remember. Like I said, time's an illusion.
This is all quite new to me, but
there is apparently a weird leap in our genetic composition or a DNA where we weren't really sentient, and then there's like a gap, and then it suddenly becomes so. It's almost like there was some sort of intervention which sort of, and actually a lot of the interesting, a lot of the creation myths, I'm talking like, well, obviously the Romans stole everything from the Greeks, but like Mesopotamian, Sumerian, Babylonian, like they all have this idea that, or there's lots, even like, you know, like even in like art, I can't even think, it's just a very common theme that there was an uprising of the people that were helped by the gods, and that the gods were like, fuck you, basically. And then, so actually there's a couple of, like, I think the Sumerian and like the Christian, where there's like a flood and shit, like, so there are common themes woven through lots of different
like modern
spans,
day,
like the whole thing. And it's interesting because like, obviously you get like, I was thinking about it in the car the other day, and I don't know what I was thinking. I was like, maybe there was something in like the idea of like pantheism where it wasn't just one, because maybe there were like a group of like ruling alien, because they even think that, and I mean I don't know how much of this I believe, but they found like weird giant bones, like where they believe like people were a lot bigger and shit was a lot weirder than we could possibly even imagine. Like there's a pyramid that's being discovered in like Antarctica, and the snow's melting, so they're like, oh. And so like this is one of the things that I'm really interested in, like anthropology, because, and I don't want to buy into the conspiracy theory. I don't want to be like, oh, I'm gonna bring the tinfoil hat and the chemtrails and the 5G and I don't discredit any theory. So like with regards to like lizard people, and David Icke obviously did start going a bit weird with like COVID and stuff, but like in theory there's nothing too spectacular to think that okay, maybe there was like thousands, like we're talking like thousands and thousands and thousands of years ago.
So are we all descended from?
No, so this is what I'm saying. So, but then
you think there's still like pure bloodlines of these? So
it's like this, in the same way that you had like the ruling classes, it's like the same people that sit on that knowledge, which is why you have things as essentially like Freemasonry.
Yeah.
So guarded secret societies and this is where it does get a bit like weird and like conspiracy theories, because you're like, well, actually, as an intelligent person, there's nothing too like sensationalist about thinking there are people that have the knowledge and have been descended from, and I don't know.
It might.
Like I said, I don't know the leap because it is probably thousands and thousands of years.
This actually pretty nicely shows the difference between us.
So the Sumerian kings list, for example, has genuine like kings and rulers that are noted in other cultures. I won't give you, like I said, because I'm all over the place, so I can't give you specific crossovers. But then the ones that aren't crossovers have kings and who are revered as gods who have ruled for like thousands or like 10,000s of years.
Yeah.
So, and that's where it's sort of like, well, maybe these were the sort of divine.
Right. First off, I think this whole thing kind of nicely shows the difference in how we approach things, because mine is always with a healthy. I mean, you have some cynicism, obviously, but mine is much heavier on the cynicism.
My sort of theories are always based very much in whimsy as much as they are.
Yeah.
Wouldn't it be nice?
Yeah. Whereas in my head, I don't go instantly to disprove.
So what?
That's kind of
okay,
negative,
what I was going to say. So, what do you think about what I just said? What was the first thing that you were like, no?
That it sounds like a lot of other conspiracy theories in the fact that, although you're saying it's more than conspiracy because it's based in like lots of kind of religious stuff.
I mean, I did rattle through.
Yeah.
A bunch of weird shit like the big bones and stuff.
In my head, the how do you hide this completely different organism that's pretending to be a human for so long? No, that's not. I'm not saying it. No, it's like, because
this has been, I guess, like thousands of years. So I suppose in terms of it's, you like in the same way that in like 100 years, 200 years, they think that humans are going to look very much more uniform because there's much more integration.
Yeah.
So this is not like So
the differences between us now. So say Zuck was stood like.
I'm not talking like they're going to be fucking blinking sideways.
No, I know that. But that's where my head is going. Is that we would have this the same cell structures, the same.
Yeah, everything.
So what actually makes them different then?
Well, I don't know, because it's just a theory that potentially there was like a ruling race that potentially had more sympathy towards humans. Maybe they start fucking them because you guys can't fucking stop fucking anything.
Because in my head I go to instantly disprove it, but like there's no way they could hide this from like.
No, I'm not talking like alien people. Like some people think about the Greys, and I don't know whether I believe that. I don't know whether I think that's. Like there is an alien species living amongst us. I met some pretty fucking weird dudes. Like that means, and when I say dudes, it's like guys and girls. It's ambiguous pronoun for me. But I've met some pretty weird guys. It's I don't think
I don't even want to go down that road.
No, I mean guys and girls. Do you remember? I won't say her name, but the girl that we there was a girl that we went to school with. She was pretty weird. I was going to say she never washed her hair, but I can't really talk right now. But she used to like pick her scabs off her knees and eat them.
Lovely.
So go on. You
killed off my train of thought.
I'm so sorry. This is what'll happen now.
So right. So there's this whole different like species or alien race or whatever. At some point, did they? So this.
We need to do like a counter in this, because you're just going to do this so often. It's going to be like, how many do we have to count in?
I'm just going to call them lizard. Like, so there's lizard people. So now, if we're talking now, this in the present, there's still lizard people, and there's humans separately.
So like the royal family. No, so it's like we are. I mean, they're still humans.
But there is
it's
some
like
difference.
They're descended from like a superior.
So what's the difference? Now, if you were to take, we just don't know. But you're saying, are they a higher being because they end up in positions of power?
No, I was going to say it's supposedly.
Or is the power just there from generational?
I think it's like descent. I think it's that they were descended like blue bloods. So it's like in the same way, because it's weird that, don't you think it's weird that power is hereditary? Like it's just passed down. Like if you were a royal member, don't you think it's just weird that you just get shunned? Like no matter who, because it's blood.
But if you follow family trees of people, I can't say this for certain.
Yeah, because human beings. Let's say that there was some sort of like higher being that came down, and this whole theory is possible. Yeah. Humans, like I said to you the other day, I was like, humans are fundamentally, parasitical. It's gross. Like we are not trustworthy. We are not trustworthy as a species. So you can imagine them being like, right, I have fallen in love with you because I think you are one of the worthy humans of my higher dimension. And it's like, okay, and then they have like a child, and that child's a fucking idiot. Like
Yeah, that's
like Marcus Aurelius literally had a fucking Commodus.
Oh.
That child was literally single-handed one of the people that almost destroyed the Roman Empire. And it's just amazing to you see one of the jumps in that. But because this is what I'm saying, power is hereditary. Do you not think that's weird? Because it's in your blood.
You're saying down the line, the people with the most power are more likely to have.
I mean, I suppose now I'm speaking about
some sort of family tree where they did descend from those.
Yeah, but I mean, now I'm speaking about it. It's sort of. I've just been talking. Because it's funny that I said about Marcus Aurelius because it completely disregards like a feudal. Like when I say feudal, I mean like, you know, a warfaring society. So the bloodline, it doesn't really matter. So
I think
this is where it's really good to just actually know shit.
Yeah.
Anybody knows about it? David Icke, get in touch.
As far as Lizardmen goes, I think unless someone would have to give me a really good breakdown of how the actual thing works.
Shall I look at it?
I don't think it's going to be enough to read off of Wikipedia to really.
Well, I just type in David Icke and lizard people. What are lizard people? This is where it's really handy to have a big. What are lizard people?
What are lizard people? I'm so glad we get to start.
Lizard people, the Guardians.
Episode 1 with
right, reptilian conspiracy theory. Right, here we go. The lizard people conspiracy, inside job. The reptilian elite. So this is what I'm saying about. So there is an idea of a ruling class which are like reptilian because they are descended from that. This is the thing. It completely. But then it's the people that we only sort of.
So it doesn't really work though because you said about the gap in evolution.
David Icke. Here we go. So, according to British conspiracy theorist David Icke, who first published on this theme in 1990 work, The Biggest Secret, tall, blood drinking, although weird,
yeah,
shape-shifting reptilian humanoids from the Alpha Draconis star system now hiding in underground bases of the force behind a worldwide conspiracy against humanity. I mean,
so I think what you talked about.
He contends that most of the world's ancient and modern leaders are related to these reptilians, including the Merovingian dynasty, the Rothschild, the Bush family, and the British royal family. I did say about the British royal family. I said, it's just weird. Icke's conspiracy theories now have supporters of up to 47 countries. Ooh, and he's given lectures of crowds up to 6,000 people. The thing is about stuff like this, right? I will just argue that the weirdest stuff. You'd be surprised. It's like you hide stuff like that in plain sight, and you ridicule someone like him.
Yeah, but for every 10,000 conspiracy theories like that, maybe one is true.
So let's just. I don't know why I put that down because actually I'll read a bit more into it because I just read the summary and just was like, oh well, that's nice. Didn't actually give us any information there, Robert, did I? Didn't.
So let me run through how. So these lizard people came, and you were going on about how there's a gap in the evolution of human beings, but you're saying that they only assimilated into some. Oh,
it did originate apparently in some sort of fiction, but then
there you go. This killed it for me. Absolutely.
Michael Barkan, a professor of political science at Syracuse University, posits that the idea of a reptilian conspiracy originated. Well, he only posits, originated in the fiction of Conan the Barbarian creator Robbie Eve. But then this is what I'm saying, you get weird stuff from that time where you get, because in the turn of the 20th century, and I'm talking early 1900s, there was such a weird, because you think all those roots that had previously been only, I was going to say, you're going to read it?
Yeah, you carry on.
Big buggers.
10-foot tall.
You think the roots of travel and commerce and literature and myths and which had largely, I suppose, been explored by I guess the elite or people who had the means to do so. You had that emergence of all this different literature and stuff, and people were becoming more widely read. So there's actually weird kernels of information in these sorts of weird books and stuff, which I'm
oh, I'm sure.
There's a book that I was reading called Labyrinth. It's by this Argentinian writer called Jorge Luis Borges, and it's.
You always surprise me how you remember names like this.
It was
things.
But he's it's a collection of short stories, and there's this one called about Tion Ukbar and I can't remember the name. Great. But basically, it's about these two guys, and they're talking about this place that they read about, and he gets his encyclopedia out, and they're like, yeah, look, Ukbar, it's a place, and then it's like this place. The only evidence of this place existing is in this one encyclopedia. They go to this library, and they're like, no, we've got the same copy, and it's like it's been completely like obliterated from like existence. They have no idea why, and there is evidence of stuff like that, like Atlantis, which is, do you think Atlantis was real? Given what we know now about climate change and stuff. Because I had this conversation with Scott, and he's like, no, it's work of fiction, it's just bullshit. It is.
I don't know enough. I've not looked at anything at all.
So it first turned up in, I think, Plato's Republic. So my argument is that, like I said, I would say at one point, it was probably a bit fantastical. But given now what we know about climate change,
I can imagine there is cities or civilizations that have been completely wiped and aren't in any kind of history and haven't been found.
Because what would happen if, because DVDs, CDs, all that sort of stuff is now becoming sort of obsolete in terms of the technology that is available to us. Like everything that we have is on the cloud. So I've made this comment a couple of times now because it freaks me out a bit. I'm like, if there was an ancient civilization that surpassed us in terms of technology and their advancement, and then all of a sudden, like, because we are still, susceptible to like a big fucking comet smashing into us. The problem is, like, an earthquake, or a big tsunami. Any of these.
I have seen this.
And obliterating that technology.
The problem is it wouldn't just obliterate. There would be something remaining,
right?
If there is
something like Göbekli Tepe, do you mean like some sort of weird, ancient?
Have you seen the thing that they recovered from the sea or something? It's like, and they dated it back. This is super anecdotal, but they dated it back like maybe thousands of years, and it's like the most complicated, like, calculator type.
Oh my god, there's loads of them.
Thing.
Like, I saw them on.
But this one's like more like, at least as far as I'm aware from what I read, and it's the most legit one that's actually been dated properly and stuff. Because some of that stuff that goes viral and that is not dated.
So what is your theory on that sort of stuff then?
Oh, I have no idea. I don't know what it is.
But then that's what I'm asking you, because I think you sit on your laurels and go, I don't know, and who cares? Like, oh, well, I'll wait for the science.
Some of it, like Atlantis, I haven't. Well, yeah, that is the thing, is you wait for the science. But if I was to have a theory on stuff, I don't think there was any more advanced civilization than exists now that's ever existed on this planet. There would be evidence either of the civilization or of whatever ended them.
But there might be, like, the Yucatan Peninsula is pretty big, bro.
The only way would be if it's within the ocean, but I don't understand. It would be the weirdest civilization.
Oh my god, no! I saw this weird. And again, I have to be careful because I don't know like how much of it I mentioned like last time, but I saw this thing and it was like, wouldn't it be weird if the scariest thing would be like if there was an alien in it, like an alien movie or something, it would be if an alien civilization, there was a big spaceship and it came down to Earth, it went into the sea and then left.
Or never came out of the sea.
No, it didn't even fuck with it.
Goes in, stays for a bit.
Yeah, and then fucked up, didn't even bother with the humans, fuck you guys, you fucked up. We'll have to, you have to bleed that word out.
This is
another thing where I mean no offence, that is a great word to use because it means slow and like, oh no, I'm digging a hole for myself.
Yeah, shut up. Just let me.
Oh no,
that
honestly,
is a episode we will have, about words like that.
Yeah, but then I'm glad that you have to bleep it out.
I will bleep it. Yeah.
You can show the real life reaction because I really genuinely mean no harm with that, and I just mean it in the sense that word is a great word to use. I love when a punchy word does its purpose, and I think Louis C.K. does a bit on that. But if you want to talk about it,
I want to cut that because I want to talk about it another time.
Don't cut it. Leave it.
No. I mean, I want to cut this conversation on it short because I want to talk about that in depth another time. what we talk about, spaceship comes into the ocean, sees its little buddies, the more civilized race,
and then this is what I'm
higher
saying, like,
civilization,
what
and
if
then goes.
now, like, what if because they have already come to Earth and they've had problems with us, and because we literally breed and it's like, you know, slime mold where it just fucking takes over and you're just like, oh my god, it's out of control, oh my god, just leave the planet, like, just fuck. There's a bit in Alien versus Predator, right, where Predator, like, breeds the aliens because they love hunting them, right? And there's a bit where he's, like, on this fucking weird pyramid and they're like, oh, fuck, no, what have we done? We've, like, bred them too much and now they're out of control. And that's kind of what I feel like has maybe happened with humans. And then they were like, oh, fuck, like, just leave the planet. Like,
this
you
is
know,
definitely
when you, like,
an episode of Rick
you know,
and
like,
Morty.
with hoarders, like, they fuck the house up too much and then they're like, oh my god, I've papered myself into literally the front door, so I'm just going to leave the house now.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
that never happens because obviously they need a place to live. But that was bad.
To me, and I'm not saying they might not still find it, but as far as I'm aware, there's never. Well,
there is weird stuff though. I will show you a picture right now.
And I will go along with your conspiracy tinfoil hat type thing. Is that maybe they have found evidence.
The CIA are pretty hot on weird shit like this.
Maybe they have found evidence of a previous, more advanced civilization.
So apparently, the CIA.
This is not good framing.
The CIA went out in. Oh, here we go. Where is it? For fuck's sake. The CIA went out.
Have you ever heard of this thing called Area 51?
Yeah, there's this weird place, right? And it looks. I'll show you. It's. Oh, do you know what? I can't. We'll have to cut this because it's just a piece of shit, and I can't actually remember this. It's like it's in Brazil.
Right.
Oh, I'm not gonna cut this. Fine, don't cut it.
It's my go-to joke every time you're like, I want to cut this. I'm not cutting this.
Oh, it's.
Just tell me.
It looks like an old. Oh, it looks like a weird. It's like cut very, very. Like it's near the Nazca lines, which are these weird, like they were only discovered in the 40s, I believe, and they are like these big, fucking aerial signs.
Oh yeah.
So, but that's not what I was talking about. I was talking about this. There's this big flat top in Brazil. It's a big mountainous range, and it's like
and it's like almost completely flat on the top.
It's like weirdly like there is no way that it should be that flat because it's at such a height, like. Geologists are like, yeah, it is a bit weird, but we're geologists, so we don't want to say that, you know.
Yeah.
Who knows?
I know.
That's where that annoys me because, because you're a scientific guy, so you can't employ fantasy and then go, yeah, it's just strange. Who would have thought it? Strange.
I can leave it at, yeah, that's kind of weird, but my kind of weird is there's probably a quite reasonable explanation.
But that's what I'm saying. You'll be like, there's probably a reasonable explanation. Somebody will figure it out soon.
Yeah. Or not. It's
lazy fuckers. Just have a bit of imagination. It's an alien that come down with a big sword. It's a sunbathing spot for big ants.
Yeah. No. I mean,
who knows what a fucking world look like? I don't think, given how early, like it freaks me out. Like we're still like we're a baby species.
Oh yeah, of course.
I would say 2,000 years in terms of like modern human written, codified,
I'm no good
written, like chronological. There is evidence compacted in. So we know for the last 2,000 years, relatively speaking, what has been going on.
Yeah,
there is
recorded history is the one. Yeah.
Yeah, but before then, clusterfuck. 4,000 years is I think the earliest.
Even now, I think with anything.
I shouldn't have had that caffeine because I need a wee now.
Go for a wee.
Oh no, because I have to stop it. So it's at some point, but I'll be like, oh well, I'm going for a wee now. Maybe this is how a new form of entertainment is very candid. I mean, this is how it is in Gogglebox. There's always someone fucking walking in with their arse in shot. And just, like I said, I don't watch it. I've seen very few episodes. Yeah. Very few minutes. I get the basic premise. It's people watching television.
Yeah, but they pick personalities, don't they? It's like a weird version of reality TV.
Did I ever tell you that I once got asked to go and come down with me?
Did you actually? Did you apply?
No, I got stopped in the street.
Oh, really?
And it was when I was living in Lanzarote. And I was like, oh my God, I'll come over it. And my
What,
mum
for, like, the
my mum was
Spanish?
like, no, you're not doing it in my house. And they were, no, not for the Spanish one. I was in Exeter. I'd come home.
Oh,
And
I
they were,
see.
like,
I was going
doing
to say, why were in Lanzarote?
Great. Absolutely great.
Oh, so they
Anyway,
obviously had a couple.
I always thought as well, because I used to love Come Dine With Me, and I always thought how hilarious it would be if you like got those like silver trays and were like, pot noodles. Like, can you imagine how fucked off they'd be?
I don't think the producers would ever allow it. All that stuff, you know, there's a girl.
Of course they would. They'd love crazy shit. You'd be like, give them a monkey head or something.
Maybe.
Like Indiana Jones.
You know that they put you up with the most like prudish, like against just because
I get
they
on with
want that
everybody,
dichotomy.
Robert.
Yeah, but I mean,
Everybody loves
they put
loves
you up
an
against
annoying,
the one that
as fuck,
turns up
loud
and
in
knows
your
the
face, ostentatious
Yes,
person like me, don't they? At dinner.
Yeah.
Can you imagine this face where you're trying to like have some clams, have some noodles?
You know, there's a girl at our school that went on the bride one.
No.
Don't tell the bride.
Yes, I actually remember that one.
Yeah, the girl year below us did it, and hers was actually all right apparently.
Oh, nice.
I think.
I
I don't think I watched the
And
episode.
the thing with those things, I'm like, you know, you're getting a wedding, which everything's ridiculous now. You can't even fucking sneeze without it costing money. But like, if you really do love that person, if you give a fuck, get married in a bin bag.
Because I think they had
Get married. What I would expect if I ever got married, not that I ever want to get married. I don't even want to be in a relationship. Like, fuck any of that ever again. Yeah. To any potential suitors out there that want to take us on Don't Tell the Bride or whatever the fucking show is, bin bag, stuff the bin bag just full of money, and then we'll just get married in like a field with like no people, no overheads, maybe like a bottle of Henry Westons each, and then we'll split the money half and half.
Bottle of what?
Henry Weston. I mean, you don't drink. So
no idea what that is.
Henry Weston's is like a delicious 8% cider. Does the job. I was having the discussion that I don't. She says having this discussion after this disgusting. I don't really like the taste of alcohol, but sometimes I just like being drunk.
Isn't that most everyone?
No, there are some people who are like, oh, this Pinot Grigio tastes. I can really taste the grapes and the vines of.
See, I don't understand.
Appalachia.
I think all guys.
I don't even.
I mean, I'm going to be stereotypical or whatever here. I think all guys learn to like
pretend.
beer, or even learn to pretend to like beer because beer is just not.
Beer tastes like pennies.
Yeah.
It does.
Yeah,
Beer tastes like pennies. But then most alcohol is disgusting, and like I didn't even know. I was very naive as to where vodka. I don't know where I thought vodka came from, but the last thing like you could have had my mum and dad up at gunpoint. I'd have been like. And I don't know, I don't know, but no, I actually wouldn't have known. I wouldn't have just wanted someone to shoot them.
Fuck's sake.
No, it's fine. No, I know, right, okay, we're not going to go there. I wouldn't have known vodka comes from potatoes.
Potatoes.
I can't do this. No.
Don't care, I did the Scottish last time.
I know, you're just going to alienate people because he's a douchebag.
It's the whole... I don't consider myself a comic at all, but it's the whole like the Family Guy thing is like everyone's
a target.
Everyone's a target.
Well,
there's no discrimination.
Big target with that fucking head, didn't you?
Oh yeah, true.
Oh, I'm sad that you didn't come in a wig today. I thought we said last time that you were gonna just come in a fancy array of hats.
Yeah, but you're never allowed to address it. If I did, you would never be allowed to address it.
Can you come in like one of those like
it's definitely not happening.
Big fruit hats, like one of those. It's like a giant fruit basket on your head. What was her name? Like, I don't know.
From like the festivals, like the Brazilian festivals type stuff.
No, it was like a prodigious woman. I can't remember. My brain doesn't. I mean, I say my brain doesn't work. It stopped working, I think, about 2 years ago when I had a baby. Maybe even pregnancy. Definitely through pregnancy. I remember putting the toaster in the dishwasher.
The toaster in the dishwasher?
Yeah. I didn't switch it on. I didn't switch it on, but baby. I remember like I think I was a bit sort of like. The idea of baby brain, I thought I scoffed at it a bit, but when I was pregnant, it's really a real thing. Like you just are like,
you're dazed.
And you forget, like, because you forget how much I guess is going on in the background. You create a fucking human life.
I would say, it's probably age as well though, because I'm doing this. I'm doing the same things. Don't look at me like that.
Be very careful here, Robert.
But actually, to be fair, this goes back to the coffee in the morning. I will end up. What have I done multiple times? We got like a milk jug, and I'll almost either put the coffee granules in the milk jug instead of my cup, or I'll pour the hot water out.
Where do you get coffee granules from in your little pod?
No, I was trying to tell you this earlier, but most of the time I actually drink instant coffee. Thank you.
Okay, right, okay, you've redeemed yourself.
Yeah. Nescafe Gold, but...
Like I said, I get that little, like, orange...
It all tastes the same.
No, I like the orange top one we get is like, it's like an instant cafetiere flavoured.
Oh, is it more like fine powder?
Yeah.
No, I just...
You know me, I love the fine powder. No.
It's wrong
Actually
colour.
don't, not for a while, not for like years and years and years. Can't be doing that.
I've never...
I know, you've never.
No. I've only ever gummed
Gummed.
Coke. I gummed it, yeah. And I was like, no, I'm right. Because you're meant to gum. I sound like the most ridiculous person talking about this subject.
Frank here.
With my posh accent talking about how to take drugs.
The posh ones are always the worst. But I know.
Apparently you're meant to gum to see if you're going to have a bad reaction to it before you take it. But
did you do a patch test before you...
I've done a patch test and nothing more.
Oh, bless you.
Yeah, never even done shrooms.
Yeah, oh, shrooms great. I
don't trust it.
I did a miscellaneous dab from a baggie when I was walking. But I was in Barcelona. I was with Jay again.
I get third-party anxiety with some of your stories.
Yeah, yeah, I know, me too. I'm surprised I'm not dead. By the time that I literally woke up, like I went out in Exeter and I woke up in Wakefield in a car park.
Oh fuck yeah, I remember that. Didn't you ring me or something? Or I rang you.
Yeah, and I was
and you're like, I'm in Wakefield.
I had to ask someone, because how often is it that someone asks, like, people will ask, where's this, or like, where is that, not like, where am I?
Yeah, it's like something out of a movie or a TV show.
You're in Wakefield, love, and I was like, oh my good lord. Because I was dressed like the guy from Clockwork Orange.
Of course you were.
Yeah. I don't think I was wearing a bowler hat, but I definitely still had the eyelash on.
Yeah, no.
I'm surprised I've not been like in several bin bags.
I'm sure you told me how you just.
What was I saying before that? There was a third party. Oh yeah, I did a miscellaneous dab from.
Oh yeah.
It was on the walk back from. We were in the chip shop, kebab shop, whatever you want to call it, like going back to the taxi rank, and there was some guy, because obviously Jane and her big bazongas just attracts she's a very beautiful woman.
At some point we'll have...
you guys just can't help yourselves. You're like moth to a flame.
We'll have Jane on for an episode at some point.
Yeah, oh my god, she's great. She has great stories.
Yeah.
She has great stories. He just pulled out his mag, and I was sort of translating in my really, really bad Spanish, and I just sort of licked my thumb like a fucking stout, just like, because I'm drunk and I don't think about these. Like, I'm genuine. Like, this is. I guess I get a bit of third party anxiety as well. It's really nice.
Just retelling your own stories.
Yeah, because I think, like, how am I not in
I'm sure you told me you were. I don't know where you were. All I remember about this story is you were drinking with someone somewhere, and you ended up like going back to some Russian billionaires.
Oh no, that was in London, where there was. There was some stupid hotel in London.
It was like just you and another girl.
Yeah, my friend Leish, and then she was working. She does. I think she does PR. I love her so much.
Mm.
Shout out to Leish. So we were at this hotel called Sanctum in Soho in London. There's like a jacuzzi on the top. I wasn't in the jacuzzi obviously, but there was a Russian guy at the bar, and he was like, and I said the only thing I've ever learned in Russian to say, which is "Welcome to Russia," which is "Добро пожаловать в Россию."
It's quite long, but yeah.
I don't know why I learned "Welcome to Russia," because it's the most stupid thing. Because if you're speaking to a Russian, they were like, "Yeah, I fucking know, I live here." Like, why you tell? So stupid. So he was like, "Good pronunciation. You want a drink?" And I may have been 23 or whatever I was. Was like, "Yes, Moe," and he just clicked, and like this fucking Moe bottle like slid across the bar. But he was with this investment banker who was English, and he was like, "Ooh." And I just remember getting really arsey with him because he kept trying to sit me on his knee, and I was like, "Investment wanker," more like, and I was like, "I'm off." And then I ended up going on like a fucking jolly around London. I met these two guys in like hoodies outside. I'm like, hello, do you know?
Oh, so you didn't actually?
No, I did approach these two guys I was on my own. I left the hotel.
I remember the story is like you went back with like to.
Oh no, I did. I went off with these two
to like
two
some
guys.
House or...
No, I didn't end up going to a house. I got offered to go back to a couple of houses, and me. I was like, no, I'm fine, thank you. I'll walk on to the next chapter of my evening. So I went off with these two guys that I approached because they had little hoods up, and I was like, hello, do you know how to buy any drugs, please? And they're like, yeah, come with us, you're part of our crew now, and it. So I like bounced around London with them for a bit, went and got some weed off some burly man in where was it? In Cotton, like the back street, and we all like bun this zoot. And then I got really paranoid because I was not in the pro leagues. I didn't really smoke all the time. I don't know what possessed me that night, to be honest, thinking about it. But I just went off, and then I tried to go home, and I missed my stop.
I feel like I had those two stories separate. I thought the story with like the Russian billionaire, you ended up going back to some like place he was renting, like huge thing or something. I don't know why I had that in my head.
You're talking about the Sheikh.
See, there is another fucking story.
You're talking about a Sheikh. Shake.
Anyway,
shakes and all that. Yeah,
I feel like.
But I just need to clarify here. This is not me just going off on my own. This instance, I was with my boyfriend at the time, Sean.
Okay, right, that's fine.
And he was with some other people who like knew him. So
because I was gonna say.
But yeah, crazy. Oh, I don't know how And now it's mad because it's mental because I do fuck all and just squirrel away and get sad a lot.
Yeah, but that means
I don't have the stamina to do that. I mean, not just physically.
You've done your.
No, I just think it's like it's not so much that I don't know whether I'm. You know when people become like disenfranchised when they're older and like bitter and like I don't know whether it's because I just
always been.
Yeah, no, like I think I've just reached that point where I'm like, oh. I can't be bothered in social situations where people are like dick measuring and everybody's like, like I don't even use Instagram that much anymore. Which is ironic that we're doing this.
That's what I'm saying. Do you not feel like you're kind of like you've done your bit of that part of your life? I think it's like
because as well for me, like I know it didn't really affect you so much, but when like our generation, literally people our age, were more on the cusp of like what we saw the world and what it used to be like before. And when I say the internet, I mean really social media.
Yes.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
We were the last generation, really, like millennials, to see the world how it used to be, and then we were brought up with the birth and emergence of social media, which is definitely and it's so prevalent all over. Even like parents have social media now, which is and it's weird to see like.
Because we must have been adults before, I think the iPhone 3G came out and I was 18? Something like that. I actually was saying... So we didn't have proper smartphones until we were adults.
I was saying to my friend Connie, who was 20, and I've got another friend who was also 20, Alicia. No, Connie's 21, sorry, so they're very, very similar in age. But I was saying, God, I fucking remember like having a phone. Because I was going to say, I remember being MySpace, that was it. So I have really gone in with the whole... thing. And then I remember being desperate for like my phone. I had a sidekick which slid up and I was desperate for my phone to have like the internet and my God.
Yeah, but
be careful
proper smartphones with apps and that weren't a thing until we were adults. No. Like we didn't grow up with not smartphones anyway.
I still say to people when there was like the TV would go off and like they're like, what? There was a real. And that's the thing we were saying about when we were saying earlier, like, people have to be on their own a lot more. Like, you don't have to. You're constantly being told.
You're not connected to everyone always.
Nowadays, you're constantly being told what to think,
but
what to dress.
It would have cost me 10p just to message you. Like, 200 characters or whatever it was.
Do you remember when you had to, in the back of, like, magazines, and you could change your ringtone?
Yes.
Yeah. And do you remember those little, you had, like, on a Nokia 3210 when you had, like, the little banners where you could change...
Yeah.
You could have like your own. I had like a hymn one. Do you remember that band Hymn with the like heartogram?
Yeah, vaguely. Yeah.
Yeah, I had a hymn. Oh no, it wasn't a hymn one. It was a Bam Margera.
Oh. Yeah.
Yeah, it was Bam. So yeah, honestly, it's so weird to think now. There's so much.
Have you No, you wouldn't have. I don't know why I'm going to ask you. you bringing up BAMs just reminded me that there's a new Jackass film, wasn't there?
Have I seen it?
There's a new Jackass film.
Yeah.
I
was going to watch it the other day, so I don't know why you didn't ask.
Because you were like, I've got no time for any.
Oh, that's true.
That was my
Although
point.
we did watch Papillon.
Because it's brand new, that's why I thought you wouldn't have watched it.
No, I've seen Dune twice.
I haven't seen that. I should have seen it in cinema,
really
but COVID stuff still.
It's
so
really
I don't
good.
It's on cinema.
Does your mum have Sky?
No, not. I can.
And a window in lives. I'm in my dad's house right now. You live with your mum. The millennial 2022 version of Fuck the Tories.
Yeah.
It's hard. I didn't think being an adult would be this hard.
Yeah. There'll be a different story. There's like different episode for this kind of story stuff, but like my general feelings on life and my situation and everything's. But
I mean, we're all in the quagmire of. Oh, whoops.
Yeah, it's taken me a long time. I think it's very recently I've been like so cliche and I've really fucking everyone's on their own journey and it doesn't matter what age you're at.
But would you not say that that's kind of like a little bit spiritual in a way?
It's so fucking cliche though. That's why I hate it.
I know, but don't conflate like the majority of like
it's but it's. Yeah, it's like one of those things, isn't it? It's just
life's a journey, not a destination.
But I've completely lost my own.
Let's finish up with how I want to hear your conclusion of how you think things came to be in terms of so Big Bang, and then what humans then what?
The evolutionary thing you were talking about with the gap is something I might actually look up. It's that sounds interesting. Like that
because we can genetically
suddenly jumped brain power essentially kind of thing. But yeah, I mean Big Bang for the thing, and like I said, it's still there once existed a ball of infinite dense matter that just blew up one day.
Whoopsie! How did that happen?
Yeah. So obviously there's, but I said,
I think we are we have such tiny minds.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is I don't think it's almost too much for humans.
Is it Greek mythology where they're like, if you gaze upon Zeus, mortals who gaze upon Zeus, I don't know.
Oh, go mad or
no, you basically you die. You just cease.
Because it's too much to comprehend.
You can't comprehend. Yeah. So I suppose it's that sort of we are small and slight.
Yeah.
And we cannot possibly comprehend the magnitude of all things.
Yeah.
I agree to that. You said earlier you've never done shrooms or I not fuck with psychedelics a lot because I'm waiting for Charles Manson to be like, oh, we've been waiting for you, good afternoon. And I'm like, that's it for me, I'm fucked. I'll spend the rest of my days in an asylum.
I know a lot of people with some really bad stories about psychedelics.
Exactly, so it's that thing of and Aldous Huxley talks about in Jaws of Perception that potentially we've become I think we might have actually talked about this last time.
This will definitely get brought up again.
And it will probably get talked. So we are we have filtered down so much of because we can't physically which is why neurodivergency is such a fascinating thing because there's so much I say overstimulation because there is less.
Yeah, I mean there's a lot about the brain and perception of things and that we don't understand.
Some absolutely phenomenal neurodivergent. I don't know what, but do you remember that documentary where that guy? I think he had autism, and they flew him over London in a helicopter, and he drew. Oh
yeah, that's an amazing video.
Right.
He drew the
down
whole
to the number
thing.
Of the video, the number in the video down to the number of windows.
Yeah.
In his memory, just from
photographic
flying
memory
over, literally.
type thing. Yeah.
Right. So there are these.
Video's insane.
And there's an enormous amount of cases with
Yeah.
Yeah. And that shit fascinates me. I sound like Joe Rogan now. You know, right? Because it's like that. I feel like Joe Rogan, where he don't really know fuck all about fuck all, and he's just talking chewing the shit. By the way, I will not object if we sort of get Joe Rogan with money one day. I'd love to.
Yeah, right.
I would love to have a career based on knowing fuck all.
Talking to people smarter than you.
Yeah, and just being like, right. Pull it up, please.
To be fair,
what's his name? Josh.
A job
bro.
Of literally just interviewing people generally smarter than you most of the time sounds pretty good.
I think everybody's smarter than me, so I don't know how we're gonna progress with this because I don't even know how I'd approach them. Be like, do you want to come and talk about stuff? You're the only person I have to talk about. I'm just gonna be honest.
Yeah, but that's kind of the point. That's why we're doing this.
Yeah,
but I think
yeah. I mean, the whole point is that you don't. I suppose that's one of the things about social media, the weird paradox,
the parasocial relationships that people develop because they're not friendships.
What I was going to say is the weird thing about social media is it's so alienating because essentially you can, it's that glass half empty thing. You can look at it either way. You can see, I'm alone in a room, but I'm connected to millions of people.
Yeah.
Or you could go, you know what, you're alone in a room and you've got a little window into a version of someone that is online.
Yeah, and it does help a lot of people, obviously, because as everyone knows, like 2 years of being trapped at home and whatever, it made it much more manageable for a lot of people.
I just find it so weird, the idea that how authentic is someone ever online? Like, and that's where it gets, what is reality? Like, can you argue that maybe there is some argument there for like simulation theory, that we have sort of been projected into this weird abstract version of reality, which has been
the other problem
constructed for it.
The other problem with social media as well, and the whole how real is everything is, it's the same as texting. It's like a lot of tonality is lost in the conversation. There's no
nuance, but there's no nuance.
Yeah, the nuance gets lost a lot.
But you look at like the knowledge base, that like the basic sort of what people knew 50 years ago. People would basically know, like I would imagine, like how to change a fucking tire, like which star was an off one. You know, they had because you had to read a map. You couldn't. Yeah. So basically, what I'm saying is basic people's knowledge. Because obviously, like, religion, I don't care what anybody says, 50 years ago, religion was way more prevalent in even the 70s than it was now. So people would still be going, because it was still a cornerstone of society in a lot of places, even in British society, where, you know, it was still respectable to go to church on Sunday. So you would have that knowledge base, which we do not have fundamentally now in society, of, you know, the creation stories of Christianity, or at least the Church of England, because we are, you know, or were largely
right,
whatever creation story it is. That's not me, you know.
Right.
What I'm saying is, wherever people were from, there is much. I think there was much more of a leaning towards, dare I say it, traditional values, where people actually sort of had a firm grasp on their heritage. Where it's like religion was much more prevalent. I don't even know what I'm talking about. Definitely trailed off there.
Yeah, I wasn't sure what you were.
I don't even know what I was talking. This is where ADHD happens, and I'm like, yeah, I think knowledge base. That's what I was talking about, because people have a much more broader foundational knowledge
because of
no internet. No, you know, people would read books for.
Oh, so you think before the internet, people had a much broader knowledge?
Like much
I'd
more.
Say it's
like, well, maybe it's like knowledge in different way, but I would say, like, you know, I really appreciate, you know, lots of a plethora of different skill sets. I have very, very close friends who are very talented makeup artists, and this is not to, you know, diminish what they do, but, you know, people skill set nowadays is, I would say, because of social media and the impact that it has, largely to do with looks, or like putting an outfit together, or, you know, computing technology, stuff like that, or crypto, or like gaming, or, you know, stuff like technology based that has no, when I say real life, basis in real life.
Yes,
so like,
I know what you said now. Yeah.
Maybe it's practical knowledge, maybe it's practical skills, but even that had its roots in what I'm saying about, you know, generally speaking.
Could they tie a knot? Like it's the very foundation, and like, or so.
But that's what I'm saying. But it's also, you know, it's sort of married and intertwined with that sort of, like I said, traditional values of, you know, anthropologically speaking, not that I am, you have a connection to your ancestry by you know, because life hadn't really changed in, you know, you would get, you know, it's only been the last sort of 100 years where we've got such a change in the way people live fundamentally. Like, obviously you have like, oh, electricity, that's fantastic, and people are like, oh my god, what is this sorcery? But fundamentally it just meant that you didn't have to fucking carry a candle to bed, I suppose, if you were rich enough.
Yes, you didn't have to learn how to use it. You
still were reading books, you were still reading the same books, and, you know, schools and knowledge and science, like, because we didn't really have the technology, it was all industrial technology. That was the whole point. You had the industrial revolution, but technology, like,
I think the knowledge base
wasn't invented until what?
I think the
good old Ada Lovelace.
But you could say that that's evolved throughout human history, is that the knowledge base has evolved with it. So in this technological age, the knowledge base has moved towards technology rather than having to do. But it's shifted
away from. It's like there's been a big leap because you've got.
Because technology took the leap so fast.
I was going to say, but what I'm saying is the knowledge that people. It's like if you pick up a bag, right? It's like leaving all the other bags at the station and a kid just picking up one and going, "This is enough." You know what I'm saying?
But if that bag is enough to do everything,
I suppose, but it's relying on.
Yeah, there's the reliance. The reliance is the issue.
Which is
but
the
we've
problem.
Had this conversation.
But then that's what I'm saying. Like the foundational knowledge base, because that's innate within a person. Like because they've read it, they've learned it. It's innate within them. Whereas now you've reliance on an external, which is not learning. It's just having that knowledge available. It's having it available. It's a different thing.
Having it available, yes, is a very different thing to actually.
And that's what I'm saying. So having the not okay, this is.
Yeah.
This is where it's
so your two terms
splitting hairs down.
No, I think those two terms are quite definite. Having the knowledge within you already, and you have learnt something, and having the availability to get that knowledge are two very different things.
Because what I'm saying is, I suppose, like it being innate with someone is because it's the way if you're like autodidactical in the way that you learn, like that's fine because you can go on your iPad and you could read it and you go, I'm gonna go away and learn crochet or macrame or fucking. I don't know how to, whatever it is.
But this is what I'm saying is.
But before you would be taught, it was very erasable.
It was either passed down through your parents,
so you were passed,
and then it would have been books. So like but this
I suppose it was the same, or it was still, you know, you were still, or it was still autodidactical. But it wasn't. What I'm saying is, it wasn't so much. The reins weren't given to you directly. It was you had to learn it because you survived it. Whereas now it's much more like vocational. You know what I mean? Like you would go away because people don't have any real push to survive. What I'm saying is we don't live in the wild. You don't have to necessarily even walk to the fucking shop if you don't need to. We literally have.
Before,
it's like the last days of Rome, like fucking grandeur of Rome.
Like the solar flare happened, the one that almost happened 10 years ago, whatever, and wiped out all technology, all electrics. We're all fucked because we can't grow our own, don't know how to grow our own veg or tend the land or rear animals.
I think that's my point.
That was But I think your point of the learning, I think that's evolved, and because you only see it now change so quickly because technology's evolved so quickly and pushed forward so quickly. But so back like cavemen or whatever, they would have been taught from their fathers or their mothers would have, you know, and it gets passed down through the generations.
And that's what I'm saying. Nothing really changed.
Books happen, so you would learn from books.
But I think, that's what I'm saying. Do you not think there's a danger in transfer and literally the transference of having that knowledge and having that knowledge?
Having access to and having knowledge, yes. But I mean, I would rather give everyone the access to knowledge.
I suppose because it tailors it to your specific interest, whereas in school it's just like shoving
there's that
stuff
as well,
down
but
your
there's
throat.
also just so many people that don't have access to.
That is the idea of like secret societies, and the whole thing about going back to like blue bloods, lizard people, is that actually there's a really interesting woman. She was a Russian aristocrat called Helena Blavatsky. And she was a very prominent woman in the occult esoteric scene. She went all over the place. She also surmises, not necessarily there are lizard people, but the fact that there is knowledge that has been sat on. And this is only just, one person that I can just think of. But she went to Tibet, and she said even And actually, there's theories that like the left fucking paw of the Sphinx is actually the library, which is why now. But interestingly, the Egyptian Department of Antiquities aren't allowing anybody. They're all doing it's all domestic.
It's the same as the Vatican stuff.
Yeah.
Archives or whatever they call it.
Vatican know loads of shit.
Oh yeah, of course.
Aliens have come. They've been here. They were like, oops.
I would not be surprised if there is.
I created a monster, cousin.
If there's records of a extraterrestrial visit or. Yeah.
Look at the Renaissance paintings where they've got the fucking literally like they're like, ooh.
Weren't they all fucked up when they were doing that kind of stuff? When they were drawing
Renaissance paintings, yeah. Because you can drink water, you die.
So yeah,
it's literally
they were probably fucked up with the illness.
Literally safer to drink fucking mead and ale than to drink
that's why. That's
water. Yeah.
why. What was it? Isn't that why? No, I'm not even going to go there because I can't even get the anecdote right, let alone get it factually correct.
This is what I was going to. I was literally just about to say why you could always drink paint like Picasso, but Picasso.
I love some of the stories from like artists and scientists and philosophers back in the day.
I was reading one the other day and it was like Stalin, Freud, Stalin, Nietzsche, Hitler, Trotsky and Einstein were all in Berlin at the same time. Something mad like that.
Yeah, right.
Which, because they were all knocking around in like the 20s. Which again is a weird time. Like this is one of the things in the last 100. I suppose it's always been mad, but we've just not really.
There's definitely
much like such a consistency and such a big such a big lens on so much that's happened since like the last 100 years because everybody's writing and this everybody's got access to. I say everybody's got access, but
it is wild though. It's like there's posts of like this person and this person were alive at the same time, and in your head they're hundreds of years apart.
I saw
I wish I had an example, but I don't.
It was Roosevelt. It was bear with me. It was Roosevelt when Pearl Harbor happened, right?
Oh God, my American history is almost as bad as
my
English history.
If we do have any sort of following, we're going to lose. We're going to gain people and then lose them within like 10 minutes because they're like, these people are fucking insufferable. They know nothing. I feel like it was Roosevelt, but anyway, I was watching this thing where he's doing this weird anniversary. I say weird. It was weird because it seemed surreal to me. It was him in the 30s going to give these commemorative things to Civil War veterans.
Oh, what the fuck?
Right? And you're like, oh shit, that's why America's fucked, because 2 generations ago your granddad was still fighting for slavery.
Yeah, fuck. Yeah, I guess that's the same kind of thing as like.
And then
was it the last World War II or World War One only survivor, veteran only died not long ago?
Oh, it would have been probably World War One. There's still lives.
Yeah, World War II, yeah, of course. Yeah,
my grandma's still alive. God bless. Shout out to Dorothy.
Yeah, but the last one only.
My grandma. Remember,
recently,
like my grandma, my literal grandma was like, my grandma was alive when the Wall Street crash happened. Yeah.
I've no idea about when that was.
1929. She was born in 1923.
Yeah, it's kind of weird.
Old.
So it's like 3 generations, 2 or 3.
Born in 1926. I was like that. She's not almost accurate. She's 20. It was 1926. She was 3 when all, which is still bonkers.
Yeah, because
the Wall Street crash.
Yeah, but when was American Civil War?
1880s. 1890s.
Earlier than that, wasn't it?
No, I feel like it was the 1880s.
Anyway, our lack of knowledge aside,
I will find this out.
We can both learn something today.
We can all learn many things. American Civil War. Well, this is how, because I said to you earlier, I was like, look, I'm going to have to Google a lot of stuff because I don't know. But then this is, I suppose, why it's important. This is how conversation should be, because everybody's like, I don't know. And you don't fact check in real life conversation.
Yeah.
Well, we do.
Yeah, we do.
Because it's we get annoyed that we don't know.
Yeah.
You were fucking right, Rob.
It's like 50s, 1850s.
No, it was the 60s.
60s.
I was way out.
60s.
Oh, I take my hat off to you. I take my Civil War type.
You need to watch all the.
activity.
I only vaguely remember a lot of stuff.
Do you know the weird thing? I actually know a weird fact about the American Civil War. It started in some dude's garden and finished in the same dude's garden, even though he moved away. I don't know how I knew that.
I vaguely want to say that's. It was. No, because I think that's the.
I watched it on a Ken Burns documentary. All right, Rob, he wouldn't lie.
That's the War of Pigs.
No, the War of Pigs.
Yeah.
Are you thinking of like the Bay of Pigs?
No.
What's the fucking War of Pigs?
This is all my knowledge. I'm gonna be really. All my knowledge.
I
is from
feel like I've looked at the camera a lot,
wait.
like Jim from The Office. You're gonna get a lot of cuts of me going.
I'm just gonna put some of those side by side, those images, and just put them up.
Yeah.
All my American history knowledge of wars and stuff is from oversimplified videos, which is literally.
I thought you were going to say from Over Simpsons videos.
No,
I was going to say that's very fair.
There's a YouTube channel called Oversimplified, and it's literally.
It's not that cool guy with the glasses, is it?
No, they're cartoons. They're cartoons.
Oh no, I don't know.
They're animated videos. They're all factually correct, but. Yeah, that's where most of my knowledge of like American.
So are you saying that you've heard this fact? It was fucking.
There is a War of Pigs. I don't know if that's.
Well, you might have to come back and go.
Well, it's because you said it started and ended in the same guy's garden.
Go off and find me. Next time we can talk about your weird 5. Talk to me about your weird 5 historical facts. That's what we should do. We should do like.
My history's so bad.
Yeah,
that's what I've just admitted to.
Oh, you don't have a child, so you can go off and come and talk to me.
But you've read history a lot.
Yeah, but I know just weird. I just don't know nonsense about weird stuff. I just don't know. I have no practical skills. Like I would die if if there was like some sort of like Mad Max like post-apocalyptic scenario where I had to like fend for myself. I would be like, and I have a child, so I'd be like, well. Are you old enough to wield a weapon? Because I am probably going to die real soon. So you can cut me open and live in my stomach for a bit like a tauntaun if you want.
It's such a dark.
I would happily do that for him. He could live in me like a big, weird
kangaroo,
sausagey,
much more gross,
beanie sleeping bag. Oh, it'd be like all squelchy and weird inside of you.
I think we're at that point in the night where we should
probably just stop talking.
Yeah.
And then I talk about your next time. Talk about your 5, 10, 20.
I don't want that to be the topic of the whole thing, though. I don't mind giving you a.
We haven't. I mean, we never stick to one topic.
No, of course we don't. It's all over the place. But,
so I mean, to summarise, who fucking knows?
I need to stop doing this. I keep doing this because like my head is like.
Your
I mean, I don't need to stop. It's just become a habit.
It's because you're so used to having hair. I suppose.
Yeah. There's lots of weird things. I still stroke it.
I might even wash my hair for one episode of this. And I was going to say I'm never going to put makeup on.
No? Just can't be bothered.
I've just lost the will to give fucking will. I don't care.
It's fair.
So I'll present myself as well.
It's fair.
I might do one day when I've come home from like the shop and I've accidentally done it.
Accidentally spent time in front of a mirror. You know, just slipped
fell over.
Stood in front of a mirror.
Yeah, this is one of the things. I just think there's so much emphasis on how people look and I just can't be able to present myself like that. I'm like the anti...
Yeah, but it's the shallowness, isn't it? Because it doesn't change how we
I think I'm
interact
confident enough to know that I could probably hold a conversation and about nonsense. That might be it, but I don't really care about how I look. I mean, this is a conversation for another day, but to tie in with social media.
Anyway.
I don't know why we were talking about what we were going to wind down, and I said so to summarise. Oh, because you said about putting your hands on your head, nice like a little teapot.
That's how it goes. But there's I think it's
you're more like cafetiere when you do that. To be fair, because you just push it. Anyway, yeah. So you don't know. I don't know. Who fuck does know?
Who knows?
We'll obviously go and we can touch on this more again, but
there's lots of things we will get back to on
emergence from chaos, accidental. No, yes. What do you think?
What?
Do you think it was like an accident? Do you think it was a like mistake or design?
I don't. Let's. Next episode. This has been.
We don't know.
Dogs Can't Look Up. Episode 1. We've done a full episode. There is an episode 0 that I will put up, and it's hopefully this is better quality than that one was, because it was just.
I mean, I don't know. We do sound like we're in a biscuit tin.
Well,
but thanks for coming along for the ride.
So we will.
If anyone, do you think it will? One person, two? How many?
Yeah, my YouTube account will be a viewer on this, and your YouTube account will be a viewer.
I don't even think I've got. Oh no, I do. I do have a YouTube.
But yeah, follow us on Twitter. We have a Twitter. It will be here, or actually, it's going to be audio, I guess. So I should probably DCLU podcast at DCLU podcast. Yeah, I've done it.
It sounds like we're some sort of organisation.
I did think it looked
professional organisation. I kind of like that.
University at the end. DCL University.
It's a lie. We are not. Any sort of professional.
No, do not cite us in anything.
We can kind of pass ourselves off as some sort of professionalism. Don't.
No, definitely not.
Don't. I even said we should call the podcast "Your Mother Would Be Disappointed."
I don't remember you suggesting that.
Yeah.
It's too long.
You do remember. You were like, "That's too long."
So, at least I'm consistent.
I mean, we might change up. We could just change our name every time, but we've got all the handles now.
Yeah, but cool. Thank you very much. We'll see you next time.